The franchises of Saturday Night Live and sketch comedy have certainly had a big influence in the movies. Let's talk about Austin Powers. I mean, you've directed all the Austin Powers movies. Yes? Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of tickets. Those strike me as movies that couldn't have been made 10 years ago.
I don't know. I was watching Young Frankenstein the other day, and Mel Brooks movies. I mean, and I think it couldn't have been made without Mike Myers, which I guess traces it back to Saturday Night Live. It is a great institution for developing talent, and so, I mean, I was going to say about your earlier question, I think fear is the best thing for comedy, fear and anxiety. I personally need fear and anxiety to do comedy because it's sort of the only way I can kind of deal with the things I'm afraid of is to make fun of them, and I think we all do that, and it's always, whenever there's something to be afraid of, it's a good time to start making people laugh. That's not a funny thing to say at this moment.
But it was smart.
And I am afraid, so I didn't succeed at myself.
Anyone else?
Well, I don't think in doing comedy, you're not really, we're not influenced by other comedy. You know, we're influenced by going and seeing a movie that thinks it's serious, and we laugh at that way more than we screamed through Armageddon. I mean, that was great. And it's for us, it's always it's going to see a movie like that thinks it's really the shit, and then going and say let's do an animated 20-minute version of that now, and we'll do that in the show. And so for us, going to see comedy is a bit more. I don't know if I've actually gone to a comedy film in over 10 years.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
It's just not. That's and we were influenced by British comedy, as I know Mike Myers was too, but I think it's the serious stuff, it's the people taking themselves so seriously that it is so funny to us, so that's where we get our inspiration.
And that's also a lot of British television that you're watching?
Yeah, it was, as I'm saying, as kids, mm-hmm. that's what shaped us, because what was on even then were the sitcoms, and what we were supposed to be laughing at was Different Strokes and Facts of Life and all that, and then we would find Monty Python on PBS and be like, what is this, and why are they talking that way, and this is great, and so just something that was a little bit different.
See, I really like Facts of Life because I thought it was just beyond conceptual. I thought it somehow, I thought it was an altered reality.
Which one did you relate to?
Oh, all of them, especially because I don't know if you're familiar with this work, but it was about this group of young girls who were at a boarding school for many decades. And they spent most of the series gaining enormous amounts of weight. And then they would have sort of moral problems where one of them would get an offer to be a teen model. And they would debate this and eventually refuse it because it would be wrong. And so it was riveting in that way that really bad television is, because there's such a barrier between that and any form of actual life that it was fascinating. So at that Tootie.
Do you think that it's increasingly difficult to write comedies that are smart? And do you think that Hollywood wants comedies to be dumb?
I don't think they want them to be dumb. I think that the thing is sorry. I remember when that happened to Blair on episode 16. The problem is, not the problem. The reality is that when you're dealing with the people who decide what movies get made, you're not dealing with funny people. You're not dealing with, and maybe you're dealing with smart people, you're dealing with good business people, but you're not dealing with funny people. And so what we've always seen is, whenever we've tried to just write a script and say, here, this is funny, they go, okay, maybe that's funny, but they need to see something first. Like with South Park, we had to make a short first for people to go, oh, okay. And it's sort of like that's sort of the problem is you're not dealing with funny people here that are the ones deciding I'm going to make this movie or not.
In general, one tends to hear that the executives making decisions are not particularly funny, but they think they are.
Some of them.
They think they know what's funny.
Yeah. Some of them are particularly unfunny.
Yeah.
They're the most unfunny people I've ever been around.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's the worst level of hell when you're in a meeting with an enormous amount of studio executives debating what's funny.
Yeah.
And you think, well, why don't you just all ask your assistants? And it kills anything that might actually at one point have a tiny germ of humor in it. You just think, no, nothing can survive this kind of committee work.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
and then you're pitching an idea, and they go, "Oh yeah, it's like the Animal, like Rob Schneider's Animal," and you're like, "No, it's not like that. It's funny." You have to deal with that.
Well, they only understand what they've already seen.
Right. And they understand what we've come to call the derp-de-derp, which means like every movie trailer that's a comedy, no matter what it is, they try to package it as this summer, derp-de-derp, right? It's like Rob Schneider, derp-de-derp. And then someone hits a wall and someone falls down the bleachers, and no matter, sometimes you'll see a movie and it's way funnier than that, and it is more than that,
Right.
but still you can see what all the studio understands is he ran into a wall. And that's what...
And then you go to the theater and people are laughing like hell at that trailer.
Yeah.
It makes you so mad.
But that's what they, and even when we made the South Park movie, first of all, they were like, "This, you cannot make this a musical. That's not funny. Don't, and we had to fight them for that. And then they finally made a trailer, and we were really proud of that movie, and we were proud of it, but they wanted to bury the fact that it was a musical, and so they didn't do that. And we saw the first trailer that they made, and it was, Eric Cartman has a problem. Derp-de-derp. And it was all just fucking, it's all them, it was all the shots of anyone getting hit in the head or whatever, and we're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But that is the sort of studio mentality.
And they all play the same music. I'm Walking
Yeah.
on Sunshine
Yeah.
is in every
Yes, it's
trailer.
always-
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and it's always also, it's Walking on Sunshine, da-da-da, but then, record scratch, it's about to change.
And then it's hit the road, Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
The road, right.
And then it ends with "We Are Family."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was in a meeting with various executives, and they were getting all excited as only they can, because they said, this could be a 4-quadrant picture. and I thought,
Have you heard that before?
The quadrants are, I think, it refers to the audience demographics, that it could attract men, women, teenage boys, and young girls. And if you can have a movie that manages to sweep all of them, then you have a 4-quadrant movie. And it felt like there would be a search for the 5th quadrant. But it was, and they say these things, of course, with no sense of humor whatsoever.
Right.
And then you also get to go through test screenings with focus groups, where the members of the audience, and they fill out cards to tell you what worked in your movie. And the studio takes these very seriously, because when we did In and Out, and they took all these cards from people, and my favorite card was one where it asked, did you like the movie? Woman loved it. She said, what were your favorite parts? She listed all sorts of things. Said, would you recommend this movie to your friends? And she said, no. And it said, if not, why not? And she wrote, against God's law. And thought, well, how do, you can't recut for that.
One of the things that sets comedy apart from any other form is that people want to repeat the bits that they love in movies and in television and everything else that's comic. And I'm sure it's really a thrill when people go up to you and say, oh, I love this or I love that, and then start doing...
I can do Art Cartman better than you can.
Right.
You want to hear it? They scream the lines you use. You're walking down the street, and you're gonna go some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be psyched. Oh yeah, no, that's a fucking funny line.
We just started doing that now too, because people will be like, Timmy, and we're like, fuck yeah.
Okay, fuck you, man. I don't know. It's cool that people you don't want to be that bitter person that's like, oh, leave me alone, but on the other hand, it is kind of funny that why would you think I want to hear that right now?
Well, writers don't often get that. Writers don't often get that kind of approval.
No, it's true. It's just, if you're at a restaurant with your mom or something and someone's screaming a line across the restaurant, and the only way you can get out of it is like, yeah. You know, and you're just like,
You're that suck my dick guy.
Eddie Murphy said about that.
Paul, what my kids are in the front row, guys. I'm trying to be composed. Yeah, there they are. The ones who are very excited.
Forget Trey said that.
Just
kids.
kidding.
Just forget that.
Just kidding.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Paul, of your movies, what are the lines that you get back more than others? And what movies do people want to talk to you about?
Well, I know parents are actually hate me because of some of the things in the Addams Family movies, because of Wednesday Addams, which kids, I think, tend to love. But there's a dinner party or a breakfast scene in one of the Addams Family movies where the family's having breakfast, and Wednesday says, who's Christina Ricci, who's so great, and she says, could I have some more cereal? And Morticia says, what do we say? And Wednesday says, now. and little children like to repeat that. So, which it'd be better if they said, suck my dick. But,
No, it would not. No, it would not.
I'll win the next one. But, so I've had that, but it's...
Next time you're staying at the bar mitzvah. But I'm sure you're fans of movies, and you want to tell other filmmakers that I think your stuff is funny. And
Yeah, but I remember I was at a party a couple of years ago, and Robert Duvall was there, and somebody was like, I'll take you over and introduce you to Robert Duvall. And I was like, and I think he's great, but I was like, no, just leave him alone, because I know how it is to be on the other side of that. If somebody just coming up who really has no reason but to just say, hey, hey, I'm in the same room with you, I want to hang out with you. And so I mean, it is. I mean, I say it's flattering, but there comes a point when people are,
But you have to clarify. There's something very different. It's between, people come up and saying, hey, love your work, I love your movie, whatever.
That's cool.
That's always great. That's always flattering.
Okay.
That's always awesome. And it's because it's a different breed that come up and shout your words in your face. Because they don't even really like you. They don't like the work either. It's like it really is a different breed.
It's something to do with it. It's something to do with it. I swear, it's something to do with it. We've had Trey and I've been walking through, we were in Vegas one time, and these ladies saw us and like, oh my God, you're the guys who do South Park. We're like, yeah. And can we take a picture? And we're on our way someplace. We're like, okay, yeah, fine. And they're digging through their purse and digging through the other purse, can't find their pockets and their jacket. And they're like, wait right here, we're going up to a room to get our camera. We'll be right back. And that happens a lot, something like that. There is something where it's like, I have Nathan Lane on this little tape in my bedroom, and there's Nathan Lane, in my VCR, and I kind of
I was
own
acquitted
him.
of that case.
And so there he is at a party, and there's two things. Either this is the last time I'm probably ever going to get to see him, so I'm just going to monopolize his times. I don't care what he thinks about me. Or I kind of own him. He's on my TV.
It's more
flip him on or
ownership
off.
issue.
It's just like he's mine. It's screwed with.
That happened the other day. I was on a cell phone, standing outside, and I was in a heated conversation, and I realized that a woman was standing next to me, and her husband was taking her picture with me. Like I was some cardboard Statue of Liberty cutout. Like I was just this Times Square display. Have your picture taken with Nathan Lane, but don't tell him. I was embarrassed. They just quietly snuck away.